Hey guys, Cat Demon 43, and we're back with another episode of The Letter. Now, before I continue, I just wanted to let you guys know that the reason why it took me so long to get a new episode out for The Letter was because I actually had tried this one game, a free visual novel that you can get on Steam. You can download and play it, and it's called Doki Doki Literature Club. I thought it'd be a nice little change of pace, but two things. I realized that the volume was too loud, so you can hear me, but you can't, it's a little bit difficult. And the other thing is I recorded almost about 2 hours of it, and I had gotten close to finishing half of editing, and then my computer did a restart. And I lost all of it. So, yeah, I still have the original recording. I do intend to go through it and do finish that game. Yeah, but anyway, last time on The Letter, we continued with Zach's. We started off with Zach's story, and still have some questions as to how this ties with him, other than the interview with Hannah Wright. I'm also, and obviously with Isabella and such, but it makes me wonder how he himself ties into this. So I'll be curious to see how this goes. Anyway, so let's go. Also, to any Americans watching this, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving happened for you guys, and because for Canada it actually happened sooner. So I really hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving and had some delicious food, hung out with friends, things like that. And we got a mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. for luxury living. Yeah, and this hasn't happened yet. I thought it had, but it hadn't. So after Ashton's warnings, they all hold a different meaning now. Oh. The next 2 days rush by in a blur, altogether leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up and unexpected acquaintances or friends? Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by the overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes. I can understand that.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
Oh, there's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I have to grow used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run, as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. Party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture. Other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working in such a high profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella, or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair. Yeah, I really feel like when we get to Ash that there's gonna be hopefully some answers given, I hope. Because I really think that it involves some stuff, the case that he's working on. At least I feel it.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Well, at least Hannah. Luke is kinda for the most part. Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. Oh. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright, Hannah herself, though. Aw, pretty. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. It makes me wonder what they say. It really sucks when you know when like a rich person's actually really, really nice and they care about you and people just want to slander them because, oh, they got money. That just kind of bugs me. Never liked that. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. Oh, okay. This must have been since we stopped teasing Zachary, and if we hadn't... Okay. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I at least expected from her. But here we are. Although, with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. Yeah. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's real nice person when given the chance. I think it's supposed to be she's a real nice person when given the chance. Spelling! Then again, who am I to judge? I can't spell to save my life. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too, if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any farther. In one practiced motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a dry rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft click before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight, for the set Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff, that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however. She did treat me well, and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me. But for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. Yeah. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour of the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these helps. The little reminder that the world can be kind, too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding another decent amount of photo foil. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, when I fish for another squeegee among the mess of tools on my drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before it settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When a glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it a night.
What on earth?
Oh, this is involving with the ghost thing. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, what the fudge? Ugh. That's... Ugh. Her head is gone. No, it's not. It's there. It's just... Ugh. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The era completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile and good woman carried in the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
I don't think that's a mistake. Oh gosh, you can actually see the outline of the ghost, I think. Right behind her? Oh wow, okay. A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
Throw it out. A memory clicks. One curiosity thought in the sea of many, and a short yet decent sound from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. Oh boy. There was a shadow. Oh! No. A woman. Oh, God. Making her head twitch. Stop it! Making the camera freak out, too. Oh, my God. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe. But with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Miss Wright's neck like a noose, straining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Is it because we saw? We saw her that now he's involved? Could that be it? Not from me. Oh, not for me. But for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
You have a ghost on your neck.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself, or a product of the heat. Food. I need a light-hearted moment. I'm sorry, I need to read this. I gotta read the other one too, but Ashton arrives to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they prepared. In the end, Ashton and Quest and stayed. The Wrights and Zach, up-and-coming gig, were the few topics touched during their talk over breakfast. More like brunch. Ugh! Oh! Oh, God! Ugh! Creepy! Ugh! It's worse than black and white. Some of Hannah's shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He would have almost dismissed it as human error if he hadn't remembered a chilling memory from yesterday's shoot. Yeah. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue, an overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. Okay, save. Gosh. Holy Jiminy Christmas! All the way there? So if I had picked Hannah, what the biscuits is all that? Okay. I might another playthrough. Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what he's going to say about the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy is a skeptic, through and through, and it'll make more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I am no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this helps him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Holy God, okay. I'm so freaking out over that. Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Yeah, no kidding. Hello, cat. I have a cat. My kitty cat Freya has come to visit. She's gonna chase away the ghosts for me. Yay! Later the day. Okay. Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. I know it's illegal, but put a tracker on him or something. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and 1 visit to his flat later. I still have no idea which rock in Luxborn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place, but refuses to stay in it. Why? He has his own phone, but doesn't answer any of his calls, or give any indication he's gotten my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up at my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep, and at the back of his Shirley, his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him, though. A bit frustrating, really. There's the police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time, either. And if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but to wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
Oh, new place. Okay. While Luxborn is relatively peaceful, the city boasting a low crime rate is practically stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like their receptionist, who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Maybe that receptionist needs some coffee. Or tea. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Huh?
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
So has he seen the ghost?
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved?
Yeah, this is definitely making me think there is definitely something going on involving his case, or X case, I guess. Closed case? Eh.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday.
Who went missing yesterday? And who went missing today?
Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
His hair looks flat for some reason to me. But then again, it's been a while since I played. He notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out my phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though. Only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
Yeah, dude. That's what cell phones are for.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice. What else do I need it for?
Calling people, you dingus.
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
Yeah, so you don't die or go missing mysteriously? When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing, like a case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes?
Right, policing purposes.
Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards their very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Someone's grumpy. Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and go. Scheduled enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is a lunch he invited me to, I would have automatically assumed I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits he has I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really funny. Somebody made an image of him on the latte. Oh, okay. A slice of their vegetarian quiche for me. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee plus a gracious serving of...
You having cake for lunch?
Oh. Fancy cake. He shrugs and proceeds to dig in without a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful.
Let's tell Becca.
It's just for today.
Uh-huh.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once.
Uh-huh.
Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of 2 kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Oh.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
Oh, God. Ash, why? How do you not know how to do that? Good God.
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it.
Oh, God.
I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong of a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Whatever appropriate word it is, I can say with most certainty that the feeling's mutual for both. Ash thinks she nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet I should stay away from. They're both technically right on their assessments.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
Oh, God. What should I say? She's married now. She's married now.
You do know she's married to one now.
One sec. Went up.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Oh, God.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
Oh, cool.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl,
Aw.
I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
He makes a show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Oh. Sore spot on that topic. One thing he never, ever brings up in any conversation if he can help it. And I've never seen the need to be nosy. There are some wounds you're just not meant to open. And for the both of us, the sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. And well, there's this one thing.
Yeah. I don't know why. Distorted images or video or things like that freak me out more than it just, no. Oh gosh. Ew, no. The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There are about 8 of them, all of it reprints of the same thing, Mrs. Wright's distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hana, right?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off. Evan's family heirloom.
I wouldn't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in a breath, reaches up his nose and pinches it. Like in the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat, doesn't say anything further. His gesture for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this, and he'll walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling into a deep frown.
Hana? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation is clear as day. It hits a nerve in me, somehow, more than it usually does. Patience can be a tough thing to summon at times. But we didn't get this far as friends if we let our tempers be the lord of us.
Bro, it's really just another freelance work.
He eyes me skeptically, the same stare he reserves for people he interrogates. I've been on the receiving end of it before, early in our friendship. Years later, he's already got the unimpressed police look down pat.
And there's nothing going on with me and Miss Hana. She was just being friendly. Insisted I call her by her first name. That's all.
I wasn't implying any of that. You're not that sort of guy.
I know, but let's just get that out of the way. The just-in-case elephant in the room scenario, aight? She's a married woman, Jesus!
Not with the image she presents in public.
No, but trust me, she ain't any of the things the tabloid writes about her.
Like I read any of those.
I know you don't, but keep it in mind, will you?
Will do. Though I can't promise she'll get off scot-free if she's involved. Man, with how you're acting, it feels like I'm doing a solid for your girlfriend.
Cut that out, will you? And I'm not asking you to. Besides, what's currently going on here is more important.
All right, lay it in.
Recounting everything takes the better half of our lunch, but he manages to listen through through the entire thing without a snide comment. A feat in itself, actually. At the end of it, Ash merely nods, takes out his phone, and excuses himself. Off to the far corner of the cafe for some privacy, if you can even afford to have such in a place as public as this. He returns a little while and hands me a small card. Oh.
I can't stop you if you're willing to believe in this crap. Give this guy a call. You're better off talking to him than me. He's at the public library now if you want to catch him there. He used to be my professor back in the university.
Oh, no, I don't think that's...
Go on. I already gave him a heads up. You know I can't help you out, man.
He gives me my arm a tap and walks off, mumbling about checking back how things are at the precinct. Disturbed, Zachary decided to show the photographs to Ashton during lunch at the coffee house. They briefly discussed Zach's sister before the topic veered on the photos. Refusing to believe his friend, Ashton advised him to talk to Andrew instead. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know this is his own way of helping out despite what he doesn't voice out. Of all the places, it never crossed my mind I'll end up wandering into a public library today, considering I rarely ever visited. Somehow, there's always been this kind of disconnect between the books in general, me and the books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times of the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection, as a matter of fact, reading all of them twice or thrice even. But they never did hold it for long. Most of it never even sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after Ashton went through the trouble to contact the professor, I can't just ignore it. Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with a library, but one akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm just thinking too much about this. That is, just the lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from a group of students murmuring in a corner somewhere, the place is free of its usual visitors. All the while my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it does not take me long to find him, being the only occupant inside of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. Yep, that's so. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to guy when something troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across from the table while he returns to his books. The next couple of minutes passes in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here. Before I can even get far into that idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me. Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess in the first among tens, hundreds of concerns in my head? But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make, but they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same one he was writing on earlier. A study of Luxmore's supernatural culture in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Here it is.
Another book is pulled out from the stack and placed open atop the papers. while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon, hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asks for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the Wraith. A sad tale, that one, but the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde Mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? In fact, you aren't the first one to ask me about that recently.
Oh yeah, Isabella did.
Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Oh, what?
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house. But my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Well, what about these, then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Mrs. Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Oh, that's cool. We get an image of him.
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
What?
Deserve what, sir?
Ah! Glasses are cloudy. Oh no, that's not good. All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do. You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me in every piece of the whole mess amidst oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there's even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing my ears fills the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I can't really give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and request to cover an event, the Wrights' housewarming party, tomorrow evening. If only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her. But the thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed, along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow. My head ain't muddled with thoughts of headless women and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Zachary met with Professor Andrew Clark at the library. The professor shared a few of his favorite stories about the city, including a friend's research about the urban legends. When Zach showed Hannah's distorted photos, the professor only warned him not to be reckless, and that some people deserve what's coming for them. But it occurs to me that the last meal I ate had been the one with Ashton, and an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Oh, he's back into this. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm and meaningful gaze, Mom's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at the sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room, Mom, Pa's pride and joy. The place where we once promised Rivertal Springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
Oh. The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is. The walls are more foreboding than what I am used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa... I can't hear Pa. God. Not above the rancis clanging of the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replace the comforting, soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks... What the fuck? Okay. It scared me. Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion in her body. And we're still getting the nice music. Oh, that's worse. Makes it worse. Bony hands grip Hannah's neck like a noose, straining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. What is going on? My whole body feels distant. What's going on? Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Oh shit. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours, while I force it back into the steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it, as if it's about to burst out. Something cold is settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter, until it becomes too much. My heart stops. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Another drift sweeps into the room and brings it with the iron tang of blood. Thick, suffocating, filling my nose with the foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards, and it slowly comes into view. Fuck no! No! I am not okay for this grudge shit. I do not like the grudge. Go away. Please. I'll give you a cookie. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Okay. Mouth stretched into a hideous smile and eyes brimming with nothing but madness. That's so terrifying. The stench of gore taints the air around me, and I can't look away. From it, her, from the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I tried to open my mouth, to shout, to ask any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is this painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. Then suddenly the bed dips. Oh no! Oh shit! No! I actually closed my eyes. That scared me. Oh God. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling it, a blanket, away, before allowing myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small curiosity flashes that I am used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood on my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath. Before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Okay. I don't like no grudge stuff. Nope. No grudge stuff. Ugh. Oh, God. Okay. We got some answers? Kinda? Well, no. Nothing definite. I'm always, and it's gonna bug me. I've always been the type, I want a definite answers. I want to know what's going on. But this does make me think, because we saw the ghost, not the letter, the ghost. I think because we saw that ghost in the mansion, the ghost is now following us. Because yeah, there is the letter, that letter, but I really, actually, I think, hold on. Okay, the last bit really feels different to me. Like that wasn't supposed to be there, like that was added in after the original help me thing was written. That this last thing was done later. I really think that it's not the letter that gets you, it's actually seeing the ghost. Regardless if, in the beginning, we just saw the feet of the ghost as Isabella, and we decided to say screw it and look up. And we saw that face. I really think it's not the letter, it's the ghost. If you see the ghost will come after you. That said, it really makes me wonder what's gonna come down next for the other characters. Not for Zachary, particularly at the moment. I'm just wondering what's going to be like for the others. Regardless, guys, I hope you like this next installment of The Letter. Let me know what you think, your thoughts, your theories, whatever. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, week, whenever. And I hope to see you all again next time. This is CatDemon43, and I'll see you all later. Bye, guys.